Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure, and I think I've been robbed. Those of you who follow my channel would see a toolbox that looks very much like this, a little bit more beat up than this one. I picked up the two of them at the same time for like $1 each, so I just grabbed them. The other one has the divider removed, and there's some very specific tools in it. This is just some tools I threw in here for storage, and it's missing. And I'm going absolutely crazy. I looked all over for it. I looked everywhere. You guys could see that perhaps I'm not the most organized person. And then gradually I figured out it's gone. And once again, it looks just like this. If I left it at your house, give me a text and I'll come fetch it. But I really can't find it. And let me show you, I mean, a lot of it could be replaced easily, and some of it just cannot be. Now, in that toolbox, I kept a second generation portable CDI that I built. This is the first one. This is first generation. The difference being is they both use a 12-volt CDI box spark generator. But this one uses one out of a GY6, and the other one uses the 4-pin. The one out of the GY6, the spark is a little more advanced, so when you use that CDI box, it has a tendency to kick back, and for engines that are a little marginal, it seems that the one with the little later spark seems the engine seems to start better. So that's the first thing that's missing. The second thing is I had one of these all set up for the 250, the Honda 250 engine. It looked very similar to those, except it had the bigger fitting on it. You guys remember when I went to get the last 250 started, I kind of had to wrap a lot of tape around this, and the problem is if the engine kicks back at all, you have a tendency to catch fire, right? It spits the carburetor off, the carburetor tilts and spills fuel, and it's on fire because it spit it out. So now you have fire and spilled gasoline, which means more fire, and that all happens right where you're sitting, you know, set your manhood ablaze. So that's why we couldn't get the ride out of it. And since working on that machine, I've been looking for the box. Anyhow, I think we are stuck reassembling what we have, right? I obviously have the box. Let me get the parts and pieces and all. I guess what I'm going to do is assemble a fresh toolbox. You guys might as well see what I put in it, because these are the tools I honestly use all the time. And once again, if I forgot it at your house, please text me. I also figure if I put together a fresh toolbox, that's when I'm going to find the old one and all will be fixed. To get the baffles out of the box, right, cut down here, and you just rock it back and forth, and eventually the spot welds will pop. By the way, all this stuff is crazy sharp, so once you do get it loose, make sure you put it in place such that you don't get bit. The box is red, but you still don't want to leave stains behind. I'll get this out now. So as you can see, we have a nice clean box all ready to go. And now, here's all the possible tools to throw in here. And I'm going to just speak real quickly to what I do put in and what I don't put in. I'm going with this meter. Not that Craftsman is anything great, but it's a small size, and you got to turn it to one side or the other to turn it on. Some of the meters have a push button here, and as they're riding around in your toolbox, they have a tendency to turn themselves on and go bad. Could also use this one, but you guys could see it kind of got busted, so let's forget about that. Push button to stimulate the starting solenoid. Let's throw that in. Light bulb for troubleshooting. All good things. Pair of alligator clamps. Makes it easy to hook things up. Let's throw in an extra one. So there's 3 of those. So electrically, I got almost everything I want in there. With any toolbox, at some point you have to measure. This is good because it has metric on the bottom and the American system on top, or the British system on top. Now, I just kind of was going through the garage, and these are some of the tapes that I've kind of picked up. And as you go through them, I'm going to grab this guy. The reason why I'm going to grab this is I have a bunch of these, and they were free. And sometimes stuff in the general toolbox gets lost, and I'd rather not lose some of these better ones, particularly this one, K&E, right? That was valuable in one day. I'm just going to take one dog bone wrench, and specifically I want it for this, right? Taking the valve cover caps off. So just this guy. Roll of tape, make sure it's UL. Some of the Harbor Freight stuff hasn't been UL lately, and it really has been completely lousy. As I'm picking other tools, it's like which knife to pick. I've been through various ones of these, have kind of auditioned them. I decided to go one big and one small. Pliers, right? There's a million different kinds, including this. I got another bunch over on the other table. That pile, this pile. And to be honest, I've decided to try something new. They're lighter. You could strip here. You got a cut in the edge there. Crimper. Right. Actual pliers on top. So I'm going to go with these. I'm going to go with a pair of aviation snips. I use those quite a bit. And I've been after a pair of long needle nose. A lot of times you have to kind of dig deep. And one other. Decided to go with these short ducks. So, as you guys could see, the toolbox is already filling a bit. One always needs a hammer. I do recommend a pair of water pump pliers. And now a bunch of this stuff is becoming no longer needed for this toolbox. Here we have your basic Allen keys. I'm going metric because that's 90% of what I work on. If I'm working by toolbox, I've gone with the ball ends because they're a little easier to use and they're relatively long shank. So that's why I picked those. Vice grips. You can never go wrong with a large, small. And I'm going with 2 different kinds of the needle nose version. So that's for channel lock. Unfortunately, one of those might get skipped over the side. Pen. You always need to mark things. I have quite a bit of experience with the Sherpolds and the Yunkai. Stay with Sharpies. That way it's alive when you need it. I have a small box of tools that's going to go within that. And you can see we have the standard and regular Quinn screwdrivers, a lighter, very handy. I have a tendency to call that a beater screwdriver. I'm also going to put a bigger one of those. An all ream small screwdriver. This is a your basic, I'm going to call it Chinese tool set, right? Spark plug wrench, reversible screwdriver. Also within this box, I'm going to put this nut driver set and the handle that goes with it. That's magnetic, so it hangs onto them. These bits slide out, right, and it locks right onto those too. So all this gets me a lot further. Time to talk sockets. I picked this up, I guess it came without the handle, at a flea market. Obviously it was 10 bucks, right? So let's go with this. So if my calculations are correct, this box and the portable CDI will all fit in here. Obviously I trimmed this back, take up less space. You guys can see I loaded the vice grips. Now as you're looking at ratchets, door last flexi, right, drives that. You know, my Weeble wobbles, always handy. And this guy particularly, this is 1/4 inch, drives 3/8, right, the adapter. That comes in handy. I need to dig up some 3/8 stuff. 3/8 set deep. Once again, 1/4 inch set shallow. Metric and SAE, that's just metric. Open box metric. We already talked about that. This is one of those flip-flop drives with the Weebles on the end. 1/4 inch and 3/8. And this is a Craftsman long-handled 3/8. Paid 7 bucks for it American back then. So now all I have to do is jam all this stuff plus a can of WD-40 and a can of starting fluid and that portable CDI box. I just have to fit all this in the big box and life is good. So that's what goes in my toolbox. That's why I put it in the toolbox. And that about wraps it. I want to thank everybody for dropping by to watch and comment, subscribe. Any comments you have, please share. I need y'all to keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now. Don't lose your toolbox. Don't get robbed. I don't know if it fell off the back of my truck or I left it someplace or if somebody picked it up while it was exposed in the back of my truck. Either way, it's gone and it's time to make a new one. Bye now.